You know, I always find these things very funny, you know, the sort of thing I mean, sexiest man alive. Well, no, I know I know it's your husband. I get it, but it could be me. Yes, well, if I was alive, of course, half dead half the time, aren't you? When you're doing these things, you're half asleep, won't you? We'll have a quick wave. Are you all right? Yes. Evan, thank you so much for taking the time out to join me. No, but it's funny, isn't it? These titles, the most beautiful woman on earth. I remember years ago now reading that about the actress from X-Files, Gillian Anderson. Do you remember her? Played Margaret Thatcher, I think, in The Crown recently. And what was interesting, they voted her the most beautiful woman in the world in some poll at that particular time. Now, I don't know about you, but I think the most beautiful woman in the world can vary from every decade. You know, it can be the incredibly beautiful Sophia Loren, remember, just a stunning lady, of course. Could be Marilyn Monroe, or could be Rita Hayworth if you're going back. And let's not forget, in the 1920s, the look was simply people like this, wasn't it? Gloria Swanson or Clara Bow. You know, so every decade has decided exactly the sort of thing they're about. But what's interesting is, in order to grab headlines, some people might suggest, the Little Red Now magazine Tatler, well, basically they've decided, and remember, this is the magazine that came up with the dire portrait of our wonderful Princess of Wales, Catherine, you know, the one that looked like nothing. Remember, you just kind of think, I could have done better with a tin of paints myself, you know, watercolours, dreadful. But the thing is, that, of course, the magazine has now decided that Princess Beatrice is the best dressed woman in Great Britain. Now, Beatrice I've met on a couple of occasions, a lovely girl alongside her sister, and they would giggle at this because, you know, the bottom line is they're a bit like their mum, the Duchess of York. They kind of got kooky fashion, and I don't blame them. You know, wear what you fancy, and I always think they look respectful at royal events. They just, you know, turn out for those right, but you know what they want to do in private is their thing, isn't it? Their downtime, it's their relaxing. But according to Tatler, yes, we should be looking at Princess Beatrice for fashion tips because apparently she's storming ahead. Now, to give you an idea of how, you know, this is rigged and this is just trying to grab headlines, also in the list is this woman, Lady Starmer. Now, I don't know about you, but up until a month ago, the wife of the current British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, nobody had ever seen because he kept her wrapped away. Nobody really knew who she was. Suddenly, she's a fashion icon. Do you understand how this is fixed now? Also further down there is none other than Cruz Beckham, one of the sons, of course, of David and Victoria Beckham. Good looking fella. And of course, when you're young and slim and you don't have an ounce of fat on you, you can wear anything and get away with it, can't you? So again, kooky fashions. But I wanted to ask, Princess Beatrice, has she inspired you in the fashion world? And more importantly, like her, are you taking this with a huge pinch of salt? And if magazines like Tatler, which were once respected, and then of course do things like this particular portrait of our wonderful Princess of Wales, do you kind of think they're feeling the pinch? And more importantly, just looking to grab headlines? According to a very well-placed source, According to a very well-placed source, when Princess Beatrice found this news out, both she and her sister basically fell about laughing. Now, I'm not taking the mickey, but I know them, as I said, and I feel they'd think the same way. As I said, I think they look terrific on duty and always smart off. But the bottom line is, you can't forget the hat at William and Catherine's wedding, and apparently she was hurt by that. So even she knows that her fashion is slightly, shall we say, off kilter. What do you think? As ever, please be respectful and like and share. Neil Sean, Kensington, London.